When we talk about immunity, we need to ask a couple of important questions. The first one is, how did you acquire the immunity? Was it by natural means, that is from someone else, or was it by artificial means, by getting an injection? Was it active? Is this the kind of immunity that is active, or is the kind of immunity passive? So let's address each of these. Natural means it's obvious, you got it from someone else. Artificial is also easy, you got a shot. If you got an injection, then it's artificial. The active and passive are less straightforward. If it's active, it means that you received antigens. If it's passive, it means that you received antibodies. These two have consequences. And the consequences are, with active immunity, when you receive antigens, you end up making your own antibodies. If you make your own antibodies, you're also making your own memory cells. This means you have long term protection. With the passive immunity, you receive antibodies. If you're receiving antibodies, then you don't need to make any antibodies. If you're not making antibodies, then you're not making memory cells either. This means you have no protection for future exposures to the same pathogen. So the protection you're getting with passive is temporary. You could even think of it as an emergency protection. Let's take a closer look at active immunity. Remember, with active immunity, you are receiving antigens. So we have two ways to acquire active immunity. It could be naturally acquired active immunity or artificially acquired active immunity. With naturally acquired active immunity, you were exposed to the pathogen in a very natural way. You got it from someone, or you maybe even got sick from the pathogen. It could be a flu, it could be a cold, it could be chicken pox. Any of these things you got because you were exposed to the pathogen in a natural way from person to person. Artificially acquired active immunity is when you receive the antigens through an injection. When you get a flu shot, you're getting dead flu viruses, or you're getting the antigen of the flu virus that's been isolated. If you're getting the COVID vaccine, that would be artificially acquired active immunity because it's supposed to give you a long term protection. Depending upon how long the memory cells last, you get long term protection from active immunity. This could be from a few months to several years or your entire life. Let's take a closer look at passive immunity. In passive immunity, you are receiving antibodies. There are two ways to receive passive immunity. You can acquire it either naturally, where we call it naturally acquired passive immunity, or you could acquire it artificially, and we call it artificially acquired passive immunity. In the naturally acquired type, we're talking about babies receiving antibodies from their mothers during breastfeeding. The specific type of antibody that they receive is the IgA antibody. This also happens when pregnant mothers pass on their antibodies that can pass through the placenta to the fetus to protect the fetus in the short term. So, this is a very temporary measure. The artificially acquired passive immunity is almost given as an emergency measure when a patient has been exposed to a very dangerous pathogen. A good example of that is COVID. When a patient is showing severe COVID symptoms, they are sometimes given antibodies to COVID, anti COVID antibodies, and these provide protection to the patient in the short term. Again, this is an emergency measure. Another good example is when someone has been bitten by a rabid animal, such as a rabid dog, they're given an anti rabies shot. The anti rabies shot contains anti rabies antibodies, which will prevent the rabies virus from multiplying and causing death.